dream. The way she gets excited over those childish human rides. My master sure seems to have loosened up a bit. I ought to do something to keep her on her toes. Don't you think?
Insolence! How dare you point your sword at
Okay.
God! Twin blade combined! Not one of you will escape!
You cannot escape!
Shatter instantly!
You can leave it to me. Activating safety mode.
Try and stop me!
I'll be your savior.
I've been waiting. Rest in eternal bliss.
I can do it. Firing my shot.
Kneel!
I hope this battle brings peace back to the land. Ah! Whew, I was nearly late. I
Good.
didn't miss anything, right?
This is the power of an archdemon!
My turn. Demons be gone. Let's all protect our master.
Are you done yet?
I'll go.
This is my last resort! Confronting an archdemon? Comical! Go ahead and struggle. I'll teach you some manners.
All right. Woohoo! Boom! Do you need some help? Deploying defense field.
Confronting an archdemon? Comical!
I'll finish this quickly. Disappear in the depths of time.
Are you done yet? By God, mercy you to repent.
My turn. Woohoo! Bang! I'll go.
Confronting an archdemon? Die! Go ahead and struggle. Don't look away.
Oh, dang.
Are you done yet?
If only you had complied.
You've become so slow. You're literally freezing.
Just gonna get some dailies out of the way before I start in case anybody does end up showing up.
It's go time, Epsilon. Are you ready?
Copy that. Output maximum. Not one of you will escape.
You cannot escape! Do you need some help? Deploying defense field.
Shattered to pieces. Good. This is the power of an archdemon!
All right. Play with the mind.
Good.
What a shield, brother.
This is my last resort! I've had my fun. Now disappear! It's freezing me too!
Leave it to me. Blasphemous! I'll cut you down. All right. That's one more mission complete.
This team can do it. This team should be fine.
Have you forgotten your manners? Lower your gaze. This is the power of an archdemon!
Play with the mind.
I've been waiting. Rest in eternal bliss. That, it's not a big deal. I'll be your savior. Try and stop me! I'll teach you some manners. Are you done yet?
Whoopsie.
Rest in eternal bliss. The paradise we create will be eternal.
If you wanted it, I would fell a god for you.
Copy that. Output maximum. Not one of you will.
Crystal cuts at you. Do you need some help? Deploying defense field.
Incoming! You might want to die.
Oh, you missed the crit, brother. No, no, no. I think I can still save it.
My shot.
I really need him to kill my Diasti in that situation.
Are you done yet?
Okay, I think we still pull it back here.
Eternal bliss. My spirit
Except the cannon's gonna be really annoying.
Try and stop me! I'll be your savior. I've been waiting.
Come on,
Rest
baby.
in
Just like
eternal
hit your
bliss.
shots. There you go.
With this, my nation's future grows brighter.
Alright, we're back to this guy. So I'm finally starting to figure out how to manage G Dahlia pretty consistently. Regular Dahlia plus Akari is just
Lower your gaze.
cancer against her. So you want your Dahlia to go first. Everybody's running Revenge, which is objectively the best set for her to actually use. But Dahlia S3 to freeze her can't be countered.
You shall all be still alive.
So like cannon can't trigger even if cannon misses. Yeah, so this is what's nice about this. Yeah, sure she can't be frozen, but Dahlia can't be agile or countered. So M.Eva won't cleanse the whole team. Even if you miss the freeze on cannon, she can't counter. D-Drac can't counter. Even if she's on cowards, can't counter. Then you have Akari go second. So even if you miss the freeze on G Dahlia, S3 extends the debuff duration on all enemies. So then this freeze becomes 2 turns. And if you miss the debuff extension, she can still land unbuffable, which still blocks G Dahlia from putting up a shield.
Demons be gone.
It also stops everybody from getting invincibility.
Done yet?
Nothing.
Rest in eternal bliss. I'll go.
Game over.
Confronting an archdemon. Die!
This team completely screws G Dahlia setups. I mean, it's just toast. So this is what I was posting about in the Discord, Ty. And then here you have a speed threat. So if you have a speed threat, you can try to outspeed him. This is where you have to know your enemy. Like, I know he's on an immunity Devlada, so all I have to do is know that I'm faster. And then you do the same thing.
I hope to learn from you today.
Okay.
So now I'm going to go first. I can strip all of his, like, even if there was a cannon here, right? Like, say this was a cannon on immunity set, still strip. Because I have immunity, I won't be able to be countered because I'm blocking the M.Eva shutdown. So I strip, I get the S2 off, can't be countered, but then Notia goes, My Notia is so strong that I can still kill everything. So really you don't want to put Cannon or Notia in this, because if I didn't have if I didn't have Notia in here, none of them would have been able to counter me. And then I could have just froze and extended like normal. So here she's frozen anyway. I extend it anyway. And then she's still dead. Never does the thing. Like, Akari used to be C tier, B tier in Arena, but this is G Dahlia's world and we're just living in it. And now Akari went from C, B tier to high A, S tier. It's crazy how good she is at shutting them down completely. Like, I'm just running speed now. I don't even care. Like, I'm just gonna run max speed, D-Vlada. I'm gonna let the Notia go. The only thing that kind of stinks about this is I'm running my Dahlia on attack. So I gotta think about this, because the obvious counter to this is like D-Stella plus Cannon. Because D-Stella counterattacks, just craps on you. Then Cannon counters, but she's gonna counter into the Dahlia, and she's gonna just get completely walled. But then the thing is that G Dahlia needs to take the next turn, or she needs to get healed above 70%, because she cannot counterattack a counterattack. That's the whole issue. So that's why you need Eva here to try to kill. The whole reason I want to run this defense is it stops what I do, which is Dahlia Akari. This will completely stomp Dahlia, like OG Dahlia and Akari. Like, they cannot do crap. They're dead. But again, everything has a counter. So. Oh. I'm probably gonna go ahead and start my rant. Ah, shucks. I felt like I should probably explain my tier list picks for this month. Let me hit some of these dailies real quick. I watched a video today on tier list that I was like, I might have some things to say about this. But tier lists are everybody's opinion. And their opinion is just as valid as my opinion. It's just the funny part was one of the tier list I was watching was PvP oriented. And I was like, I don't know if that's actually how that works. Because I've been fighting Dahlias left and right 6-star. And I'm like, that is probably not true. Alright, let me see if I can find one of my tier lists here. Okay. Alright. Oh, I don't know how to go about this, but here we go. So this is my PvP tier list for the month of August, right after G Dahlia. So this is about a week after G Dahlia has been out. So I've had some time to fight her in arena and just learn more about her pros and cons. So first disclaimer is that everybody in this tier list is to be assumed 6-star, because if they're not 6-star, then that changes a whole bunch of stuff. Also, other disclaimer is that this is based on my experience at rank 1 masters level PvP. Like, who is meta, who gets the job done in rank 1 PvP in global. So first off, you've got Demiurge Asti. She's still great. Absolutely crazy S3 damage. She can bust through any tank comp with her ignore defense on S3. I don't see them ever making a more powerful AoE unit with her revive. She is just crazy good. Still got Demiurge Drakon in S tier. She's still good for what she does. She's the best extinction unit we got. She's a direct counter to Demiurge Asti. She's still very annoying if you put her on cowards for those counterattack procs. She's even more deadly with Monad Eva for the HP buff. Just one of the best bruisers that you'll have in the game. Solid S tier. Demiurge Stella still gonna probably always be S tier. I don't see anybody coming out with another unit that does her job better. Anytime that you get debuffed, she's gonna counterattack AoE the entire team, and it hurts real bad. So she's like the counter cleave. Any kind of Notia cannon comp, she just completely slaps back. So she just shuts down an entire avenue of speed cleave. Demiurge Vlada, still the king of speed, queen of speed, my bad, because she has the highest speed cap of all units in the game at 6 stars. She gets the speed buff with the highest base speed in the game of 154. She cannot be outsped. So her S3 lands a debuff, which makes her the best Notia procer in the game. Demiurge Vlada and Notia combo will probably never go away in its entirety, even though they keep bringing out more and more units to try to shut it down because it was so dominant for so long. But for what she does, she will always be S tier. Also, her decrease all priority gains by 50% is incredibly good. There's a lot of times where people take this for granted because it really slows down Demiurge Drakon, and it allows you to get around the revive mechanics a lot of the time of Asti. S tier unit. I'll come back to Gnosis Dahlia because she's kind of like the main point of this whole tier list and the meta that we're currently in. Cannon, still S tier. She's just annoying AF. Everybody knows why. Tanky as all get out. Crazy damage. Counterattacks the enemy with the highest attack. She even is somewhat a counter to Gnosis Dahlia because the fact that counterattacks cannot be counterattacked. So if your cannon gets triggered as a counterattack and hits Gnosis Dahlia, because usually Gnosis Dahlia has the highest attack of the enemy team, it will get her under 70% HP within her killing threshold, and she cannot counterattack you to get her shield back. So Cannon is incredibly good still, even in this meta. She still can survive a lot of Asti nukes. She's just nuts. Perma S tier unless they do something. Main still S tier. Speed imprint allows you to have the highest speed in the game. AoE, revive, and skill cooldowns. Been here forever, probably will still be here forever unless they make like a Demi unit that does exactly what she does, but even more crazy. Monad Eva still here for probably ever. At 6 stars, she shuts down non-immunity versions of the Demiurge Vlada and Notia comp. Dual attack is still really good for bursting down some of these tankier units. Invulnerability on S3 and speed buff is still really annoying. Like if you're really tight on speed and the enemy just so happens to outspeed you and put up the wall and then you rage, she's really good at that. The S2 cleanse, so there's a lot of debuffs floating around in arena right now, and she can cleanse essentially anything that's 2-turn debuff or less. So trying to freeze stuff, or if you're not paying attention and you accidentally cancel one of your agile counters or agile response, what's the word I'm looking for? Skills that can't be agiled against, and then you accidentally use like a Notia or a cannon which counters that, and then she can still cleanse the debuffs. You really have to pay attention when Gnosis Dahlia and M. Eva are on the field together, because you can screw up royally. And then Notia, she's still S tier in my opinion. There's times I still use her even today, even in the Gnosis world that we're living in. She's still an insane out of turn, just power nuke. But it's almost impossible to run her in today's day and age without having her on immunity. So I run mine on immunity and augment. She does plenty of damage because now we are kind of in a bruiser meta, and if you are going up like a full tank down bruiser team, you're going to go D-Asti most likely to just nuke them down. But if you kind of have a team that's a hybrid a little bit with some squishies in there that's trying to CC you, hurry up and throw immunity Notia in there, immunity Demiurge Vlada, clean them out real fast and move on. So that's why she's still S tier. She does her job incredibly well. She's just not as omnipotent as she used to be, where you can just throw her in against 99% of all defenses and she just cleaned house. Alright, Gnosis Dahlia. Very complex character to wrap your mind around in the beginning. Then once you have lost to her enough times, like I have this week, just trying to understand what counters her, what triggers her, and just basically the pros and cons of her in general. So her main gimmick is that she cannot take more than 70% of her health, max health, in any one given instance of damage or chain of damage. So that includes the attack that hits her first, any additional attacks that come, or any dual attacks that happen sequentially in order. The sum of all that damage in one go cannot exceed 70% of her max HP. Now the caveat to this is that shields, to my knowledge and from what I've experienced, can go above 100% of your HP. So what this means is that if you have an insanely high attack, Gnosis Dahlia, and she generates a shield, that shield can in theory be 3 times her max HP. Albeit it only lasts for 1 turn. But I've seen a Gnosis Dahlia, mine in particular, when I was running her on Revenge set, she was able to eat a Demiurge Asti nuke and the shield was still there. So that's crazy. And that's how that tends to work. So she can essentially solo teams that are not aptly prepared to fight her, or if you take out key units of the attacking team that are meant to deal with her, she just goes crazy. Ways to counter her. CC. Regular Dahlia's freeze is amazing because it can freeze her. When she gets frozen, she cannot counterattack, she cannot put up her shield. So that's an amazing way of locking her down. And original Dahlia's freeze cannot be counterattacked, or it cannot be agiled against. So M.Eva cannot proc her S2 and cleanse it. Akari, amazing counter. Same mechanic, cannot be agiled against. So again, M.Eva cannot cleanse the unblockable, or the buff block that Akari puts up there. And then the two of them put together, if you run Dahlia first, apply the freeze, Akari also has the ability to extend debuffs. So you can extend the freeze for 2 turns, allowing you even more time to deal with Gnosis Dahlia. And you can focus on the rest of her team. So that combo is really, really good for dealing with him. The other way that's really good at dealing with Gnosis Dahlia is counterattacks. Because counterattacks cannot be counterattacked. So if you de-Stella into her, you'll do more than 70% of her health, but then Gnosis Dahlia cannot counterattack the de-Stella to put up her shield, because Gnosis Dahlia applies her own shield whenever she crits. Not when she gets crit, when she crits. And she counterattacks when she gets crit, and then that crit that you do during your counterattack is what procs her shield. So by counterattacking her, she cannot put up her shield in time. Therefore, if you counterattack her and then you have a turn before the Gnosis Dahlia gets a turn, you can just hurry up and kill her before she gets time to use an attack and put up a shield again. So those are the best ways to deal with Gnosis Dahlia. If you don't have one of those ways to deal with her, you might as well bend over, because she's going to steamroll your entire team. She's crazy good. So the fact that she merely exists is what's defining the meta. Because if you try to be like, oh, there's Gnosis Dahlia in this defense, I'm just not going to worry about her, and I'm just going to use my speed cleave. I'll kill 3 out of the 4 units and I'll handle her. No, you won't. You have to have a very specific team comp to handle her. And that is what is annoying for me because I love to just, no brain speed cleave into things. But it's healthy for the game because it makes you think, it makes you have to diversify your comps. It kind of sucks that this power of hers is locked behind 6-star, but that's the nature of the game we play. If she's not 6-star, she's like C-tier unit. Because the hubris buff that she has is what allows her to have this kind of survivability. She has it 100% uptime at 6-star. If you're not at 6-star, you basically have to build her on max speed trying to get a turn to get the buff. So she is designed to be a whale PvP unit, and that's fine. That's what she's there for. They gotta make money. She's incredibly fun, and she defines the meta in her current form. And quite frankly, once you get used to her, she's not that bad to deal with. But I had to wipe the dust off my Akari. I had to wipe the dust off of my original Dahlia. And it was fun experimenting with units that I had in my bank that I thought would never see PvP meta. And now here they are. They're got some of my best gear on, and it's fun. And the one thing that I've really noticed a lot, especially in the top 5, is that one little tweak to your G Dahlia defense can completely screw everybody else. Like in the first 3 to 4 days after G Dahlia came out, we were all changing our defense by 1 or 2 units every hour, trying to throw people off or find that one little combination that would throw off everybody else. It was a very interesting time. Like, you had to pay very close attention to what team comp she's surrounded by, because that completely dictates how you approach the fight. It's not just smooth brain go in and cleave anymore. Like, you have to think the fight through in its entirety or you will get stomped. So, and you can watch some of my streams and some of my PvP stuff to understand how these fights actually go down. But I think she's healthy for the game. I think she's fun. If we ever do get RTA, oh my gosh, you better pray that you have a counter unit for her, or you better ban her out completely, because she will completely stomp you. And that will be interesting. Alright. I'll focus not as much on A tier, because this block here basically controls the game at this point. Alright, A tier, Akari. She, like I've already explained, she is a 100% M.Eva G Dahlia counter. Doesn't allow G Dahlia to get her shield, and she can't be counterattacked with the S3, so she just takes the debuffs and gets looked at. Amazing for extending freezes from regular Dahlia, and M.Eva cannot counter agile her and cleanse your debuffs. Amazing unit. She's borderline S tier for arena offense. Again, this is very specifically to counter Gnosis Dahlia, but man, is she one of the best. A tier unit all day. Charlotte, she's here just because she helps enable mage comps like Diasti. If you're going up against somebody that's a complete tank down comp that doesn't have Gnosis Dahlia, she's a really good crit buffer, accuracy buffer for mages. Christina, still good. She actually is finding a little bit more viability in defense. There was several of us that were playing with her this week, because whenever Gnosis Dahlia and M.Eva's on the field, a lot of times people will try to proc or use M.Eva's S3 to hide behind a shield. Well, that procs Christina's S2, which cleanses M.Eva's, or basically removes M.Eva's invulnerability and gives your entire team attack and defense buff. So she's really good against those teams that are trying to hide behind M.Eva shields and then nuke you back. So there's been a time or two where I've got screwed over royally because I didn't realize that Christina was on the field, used S3, I got trolled and dead. Dahlia, again, probably S tier in this meta for arena offense, because she completely shuts down her her Demiurge unit. CC cannot be countered. Then she has another strip and another freeze on her S2. She's fast, so she can freeze Gnosis Dahlia, hurry up, get another turn when you run her on Desiree, because she gets priority from using the skill, and then she gets another 40% priority because you landed a debuff when you're running Desiree. So she can basically solo her Gnosis form on her own. It's kind of funny that they did herself dirty with herself. That's a sentence. So, A tier for arena offense for sure. Some people even run her on arena defense. They'll run her in tandem with Demiurge Vlada. So some people will run like an immunity Demiurge Vlada, so they strip all the immunity, cannot be countered attacked, and they will speed tune their Dahlia to go right behind their Demiurge Vlada to freeze the enemy team. So she actually does get a little bit more credit than Akari. I think that Dahlia does a better job at countering Gnosis Dahlia, and she has a little bit of arena defense viability as well. Epsilon is still A tier. She's a good, just beefy bruiser DPS that gives herself invulnerability. She also does get a little bit of credit in the Gnosis Dahlia world because her S2 can strip. So if you play your cards right, you can use her S3, nuke the whole team. You'll get Gnosis Dahlia down to under 70%. Obviously she'll get her shield, but how it plays out is, say your Epsilon is the highest attack unit on your team. She goes, uses her S3. She'll nuke the whole team. She will get her invulnerability up. Then Gnosis Dahlia will counterattack into her and do 0 damage. When she counterattack into invulnerability, it does not count as a critical hit either. So she does not get a shield and you can kill her. So Epsilon is also a very good Gnosis Dahlia counter. Iota, another one of those units that can help shut down Gnosis Dahlia because of stun. Gnosis Dahlia can be stunned, which is just as good as freeze. The only issue is that Iota can actually be counterattacked, so the rest of her team can still do things. Obviously, it's not good against M.Eva, because if you did stun the Gnosis Dahlia, but there is an M.Eva on the team, M.Eva will just cleanse the stun. So that's why she's not as good of a counter to Gnosis Dahlia. But there's less people running there's less people running Demiurge Vlada in their offenses, and she has her immortality buff at the beginning of the fight, so she is still a really good AoE DPS that can deal with Gnosis Dahlia if you take care of the M.Eva, or if the defense doesn't have M.Eva. But meta right now is Gnosis Dahlia and M.Eva are inseparable, just best friends. Kappa, I still have her in here because she can strip the shield off of Gnosis Dahlia, strip all the buffs off of her, do good damage. She also can help put up shields. She's just a tanky unit overall, can wear cowards, but she's not what I would consider a meta unit at all. She's more like if you're in, diamond tier or something like that, platinum tier, she's not too bad. Kuro, she's kind of a tech option. She's more of an arena defense unit, just to throw people off. If you kill her, she'll reduce the priority of the entire enemy team to 0. So if you're dealing with combo teams that are speed tuned, she can completely screw them up and allow like your bruiser team to get ahead of them and just nuke them down if they're not prepared for it. So if the enemy's on immunity, she doesn't really do too much. But if you're fighting some lower people who maybe not have as good of immunity sets or build their more meta units on immunity, she can completely screw them up, and it's an easy win at that point. Poolside Regina, high A tier in this meta, potentially even S tier. I got her on A tier right now because I just feel like the rest of the units are just on a shelf all their own. But she's really good. I think people slept on her a little bit for PvP early on, but her kit is actually insane. It was insane before Gnosis Dahlia came out. It's even better now that Gnosis Dahlia is here. Pros: S2 steals all buffs, so that's a direct counter to Gnosis Dahlia. It is amazing for getting around M.Eva, who puts up shields and speed buff. She steals all of that. People that run like Gnosis Dahlia, D-Drac, and M.Eva, and they get all their buffs up, she can just steal invulnerability, penetration, speed, shield. She can steal everything. And when she steals that, she can kill anything in the game. Like, she can just straight up kill cannon with S2. It's so good. It's so good. And even if you don't steal the buffs and there's a cannon on the defense, her S3 with its innate penetration is enough to kill cannon all day long. And her S1 is hilarious against healer teams. So I use Poolside Regina basically every time I see M.Eva and Mene in a defense, because you can just use Diasti to nuke them. And then if some of them survive, like with a little bit of HP, or even if you kill them and they revive, or maybe you miss one and you kill one and not the other, just use Poolside Regina S1, she'll kill one of them or both of them, she gets another turn. Use S1 again, kill them all again. If one of them still has a revive, you get a third turn, use S1 again. And you can just basically whittle down these infinite revive teams. It's really comical. I've had stretches where I've used her S1 4 times in a row and just whittled a team down. Like when M.Eva, I've had situations where M.Eva got her S1 burst 3 off, so the whole team had the revival buff, but I was able to get a kill. So I killed them once, takes the revival buff. Attack again, killed the mages, or killed the healers again, resurrection token procced, attack, kill them again. One of them lived, one of them died. Used it a 4th time, won the fight. But all carried by poolside Regina. So A tier, low S tier unit for sure in the current meta. Regular Regina, still A tier. For the same reasons as before, she is a good Gnosis Dahlia counter. Irresistible strip, so she can take all the buffs off any unit before actually hitting them, so she can go through M.Eva invulnerability. Really, really good. And penetration built into the S3, so she can kill cannons on her own. She can basically kill any unit in the game with her S3. It's that strong. The other nice thing is she has the innate counterattack. So like I said before, if Gnosis Dahlia hits her and she survives, she will counterattack into the Gnosis Dahlia, taking over 70, take up to 70% of the Gnosis Dahlia's HP, in which Gnosis Dahlia cannot counterattack a counterattack, can't get her shield up, and then Regina just finishes her off. So, and she has the built-in survivability with her Regina's World buff, so she's really good at taking big hits early. So she's more viable in most situations over her poolside counterpart, just because of her added survivability. Tamara, still very good. She can cool down enemy skills, so really good with dealing with things like D'Asti, any kind of passive that has a cooldown. She's really good at shutting down. Like, she can stop cannon from counterattacking because that skill's on a cooldown. Just a really good ranger unit. A lot of people use her on defense every once in a while, just to try to throw the enemy off. If an enemy team's using a bruiser comp and she can outspeed them and they're not on immunity, you take all of their cooldowns off. They're basically sitting ducks, and then you can take over. So she's good on both arena offense and arena defense in the current meta. Just gotta watch Gnosis Dahlia, because guess what? Gnosis Dahlia's passive is crazy and does not have a cooldown. So her S3 does nothing to Gnosis Dahlia, and you will just get counterattack to the face and have a nice day. OG Stella, also good for the same reasons. Buff steal, albeit her buff steal is 100%, but it is resistible. Point counterpoint, Gnosis Dahlia basically has 0 resilience. Most people aren't building resilience on her because she's such a stat hog in terms of attack speed and crit rate. That resilience kind of goes by the wayside. So she's, for the most part, going to be very reliable for the buff strip. She also reduces priority with the buff strip as well. She has the same revenge mechanic as Demiurge Stella. So again, if you get attacked or debuffed while Gnosis Dahlia is on the field, she will counterattack, do the damage, and Gnosis Dahlia can't counter her back. So she is another really good counter unit to the meta definer. That's why you'll see the trend why a lot of these units that I place in A tier are all counters. And then Valentine, she's also really good. I've seen a lot of people having good success with her on offense against Gnosis Dahlia, which is a little strange. But what I assume is actually happening is people are buffing with their S2. They're using S1 into Gnosis Dahlia to do chip damage. So they'll be semi DPS, right? They're trying to do at least 31% HP. Or, you know, in a real world, they would like to do 70% damage. But the goal is to get your HP down. Then Gnosis Dahlia will counter her, kill her, but you push the priority of your highest attack unit. So say it's Regina, or say it's Poolside Regina, or say it's literally any of these counter options that have buff strip. Then they get pushed ahead, they strip the shield, she's within her fatal range under 70%, and take Gnosis Dahlia out. So that's where I've seen people actually using Valentine to counter Gnosis Dahlia. So this is why I think Gnosis Dahlia is a fair and balanced unit. There are so many ways to actually get around her. It's just you actually have to use your brain. And that's what makes her fun. The rest of these units, I don't even know if they're really worth going into. Air actually probably could be A tier because she has irresistible buff strip. Same skill as Regina, so she's probably unfairly placed. She could probably go A tier, but just that's the only redeeming quality she really has. She has no AoEs, nothing like that. Defense, no defense. Ignore. So that's why I place her a tier under that. Alice has really lost her place in the meta because Demiurge Vlada exists. Ame, you're probably just going to get curb stomped by Gnosis Dahlia. So that's her problem. Diane, I love her. She just deserves to have her own tier, like up here somewhere. Speed Imprint's nice. Immunity's nice, and she would be a really good sidekick to Gnosis Dahlia just because of the big heals, the priority pushes, and the immunity. But again, the biggest issue is that there's so much buff removal going around. And when buff removal and buff stealing is on every corner, immunity loses its sting. If there was some way to do like irremovable immunity tied to her, Diane stonks go through the freaking roof. But yeah, with buff removal on every corner, she just doesn't really pose a threat in the current meta. Edelweiss, she's cool, but not really viable. Damage mitigation really just isn't doing it in the current meta. She does have unbuffable and stuff in her kit, but it's just too slow and not agile response related, unfortunately. She does have an agile, and if her unbuffable was on the agile, okay, then we're talking completely different unit, because then she could counter Gnosis Dahlia. But that's not the case. The other thing that would make her really nice is I'm pretty sure her S3 has buff stealing. But the buff steal is only if there's one enemy, and in arena, by the time that you have your S3, it's not that viable. Like if it was steals all buffs, AoE, stonks. It would be crazy. Hannibal, she's fallen out of meta. Leo, you're just basically the dude wannabe version of Eva, get cucked. Noah, you're just a has-been of the past cleaver. Rin, you're same boat as Noah. Veronica, still decent. She does have buff strip on S3, but I'm pretty sure it only strips one buff, and in this meta where people have like 4 buffs whenever they get up and rolling, it's just not enough to actually do anything. Seiren, just a generic healer. Her S3 does give 100% priority push, but in this meta, you're basically already won or lost by the time that it becomes viable. The rest of these, Asti's not going to do anything. Eternal is no good in this meta. Maxwell is nothing. I have seen Miro used a lot, specifically by one player. He uses it in his speed cleave offense. I really don't understand how it's working, but he's using it as like a Gnosis Dahlia counter because her S3 gives her immortality, and she can just sit there and take hits. And I think they're using it in tandem with like a buff extender, or she has some kind of buff extension mechanic, and they're using her to outlast Gnosis Dahlia in some way, shape, or form. But I don't really understand it, and I feel like there's way better ways to deal with Gnosis Dahlia than using her. So unless I figure that out, I'm going to leave her at C tier. Sterope, just make Sterope great for once, because she still is no good. Tamamo, she does have the counterattack strip, but again, she's going to die before she even really does anything of value, and her damage in a PvP setting is abysmal. She's an amazing PvE unit, but PvP not so much. And the rest of these units, nope, 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 nope. God, you're awful. Nope, 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 and maybe someday. So that is my explanation of my PvP tier list. Love it or hate it, there you have it. Alright, sorry, I've been ignoring chat because I wanted to get that out, so I'll probably just edit that version. I won't post the actual stream VOD or VOD this time. I'll just crop that section out, and then I'll just post that as a video to YouTube for tonight. Alright, so let's see. Forbidden, yeah, if she had her hubris buff at like 4-star, everybody and their mom would be running her. But again, they're trying to make money. It's understandable. Edelweiss being more viable. Yeah, it's just, we can't all be winners, right? Diane is huge for PvE. You know how many people? You're probably one of them that asked me to use my Diane. She's goated for PvE because she has the permanent uptime on immunity. And new question, does Outer Plane ever buff balanced characters? Yes, if everybody screams loud enough in unison, especially if it's on a premium unit. First Offender, Demiurge Drakon. Last Christmas, she came out. We'll take a look at it. I'll explain some Outer Plane lore. So back in the day when she came out, this 10% and this 25% were actually tied together. So it was 35% priority buff locked behind 6-star. Which was great if you're 6-star, who cares? It was great. And that was basically it. Alright. And she was good, but she wasn't, even at that point, she wasn't great. So people were mad that 100% of her viability, what made her special, was locked behind 6-star, which, okay, yeah, Gnosis Dahlia, we're in the same boat today. But even with 6-star, she just wasn't a wow unit. She was unique in the fact that she had single target extinction. But the fact that she was able to counter Demiurge Asti kind of overshadowed how bad she was at everything else. So people started crying about it and saying she sucks outside of killing Demiurge Asti. Not wrong. So then what they did, like probably 2 weeks after she came out, they completely changed her Transcendence. That's when they gave her 30% ally or 30% AoE damage mitigation, base 3-star. You pull one copy of her, throw her in her team, 30% AoE damage mitigation, which was crazy good. That was completely unexpected. They split the 35 into 10 and 25 so that people at 4-star felt like they got a little bit of value out of the 4-star. That was fair. Everybody was happy with that. Then where they went completely bonkers to some degree, because everybody was complaining about how bad her damage was. That's when they went and threw increased penetration to all allies on the S2 shield. Everybody was like, okay, so she's now the only unit in the game that can grant penetration buff. Like, just castable penetration buff. So that's what really made her unique. So when they gave her all these buffs, then everybody was like, alright, she's goated now. It gave her better viability in PvE for people who didn't have her at 6-star. It made her better in PvP because at the time AoE damage was really, really strong. So the damage mitigation was really good at base 3-star that everybody had access to. The penetration buff was like, wow. That made her really good on arena offense as well, because not only could she counter D'Astes, she could buff the rest of your DPSs with penetration. So, yes, she is the prime looked at example to units that got buffed after the fact. I'm trying to think of any other units that actually got the post-launch buff arena. I know Sterope got a rework several months after she came out. She's better, but she still sucks. Those are my words, so, you know, don't fight me. I feel like there was maybe some other units that got reworked as well post-launch. If maybe... I probably won't remember. Yeah, Sterope was one that got reworked post-launch. Ame. Almost forgot about her. This is the one that didn't make any sense. Ame was already busted when she came out. Still is busted. She's even more busted today than she was when she came out. But they reworked her. Nothing in her transcendence changed. But they changed her... No, that didn't change either. It was something in the skills. Something about, yeah, increases damage dealt to bosses in here. Then they changed it to where her S1 becomes an AoE when you have one of the buffs. So she became a single target nuker that could go into an AoE nuke. Because, sure, why not? Which, like, didn't lessen the damage of S1. Just instead of it hitting one target, it hit all targets with the same multiplier. It's crazy. And they didn't gimp her damage at all. Like, they had a massive bias for this girl. Probably because she's essentially the poster child of Outer Plane these days. And they're like, she's already good, but let's make her even gooder. So yeah, Ame got the post-launch treatment for no reason. But again, nobody was mad because she was just nuts. Who else got the glow up? Rona got the glow up. So I'm starting to realize that there were more post-launch buffs. Well, she was a OG unit, but they made her to where she can't crit, gave her this heavy strike mechanic where she does more damage, but she's unable to crit. She's a good early game unit. Like, the no crit mechanic is kind of nice for early game players who can't build enough crit. So she got the rework. Charlotte, Tamamo, no, Beth. Nope. Did Lapis get reworked? They changed her EE, but it wasn't a major change. Like, it wasn't anything skill related to my knowledge. Eliza, they made a few changes, I think, with her. Just kind of in the way that her skills proc or something. It was a somewhat minor change, but she got adjusted as well. You're just, God, you need adjusted. Holy cow. I can't even see her face without getting mad. She needs, like, if there was a poll, I should do that on my YouTube. I should make a poll and say which of these units deserves to be reworked. And I guarantee you, if I put Fatal in that poll, it will win every freaking time. That'll be good. So who should I put in the poll? I should put Sigma. I should put Fatal. I should probably just put those two and see how many people sent for who. But my God, do both of them need a rework? Oh, it's horrible. I'm gonna do that tonight if I don't forget. That's funny. That is good. Oh, poor Sigma. Yeah, I think that's every unit that got reworked. Like, Mr. Travis, are you in my Discord? Okay. Travis is asking, new to the game, wondering about accuracy versus effectiveness. Which is needed for strips? TLDR is effectiveness, but accuracy also plays a part in this role. So I'll give you a explanation real fast because you need it. So let's look over here on the stat line. The two stats that go hand in hand are accuracy and evasion, effectiveness and resilience. Think of these as the plus to the minus. So accuracy gets checked against evasion, effectiveness gets checked against resilience. So there's an equation where your accuracy when you attack gets compared to the enemy's evasion, and that creates a percentage and a chance to miss. So when you miss, you do not crit, and any debuffs that should have been applied will no longer be applied. So that's why accuracy is very important, even for a debuffer, because if you don't have enough accuracy to land the hit or not miss, your debuff will not go through regardless of if you have a million effectiveness. You could have 1,000 effectiveness, and if you miss the hit, the effectiveness stat means absolutely nothing. Now, say you do the accuracy evasion check and you hit, then we move to effectiveness versus resilience. Then that has its own equation where effectiveness checks against the enemy's resilience. If you win that equation, then the debuff will apply. And it applies individually for each buff. So it's not like, you know, say your unit does 3 debuffs, it checks one time, yes or no, and then you land all 3 debuffs. It's a check for each time. So whenever I build a unit, so a good example of a unit that I have built is regular Dahlia. I have her built for CCing G Dahlias. She's fast. I have her with decent accuracy. She could have more. Like, I would like this number to be more around 240, because if you don't land the hit, effectiveness doesn't matter. So accuracy comes first, then effectiveness comes second for a debuffer. So that's how accuracy and evasion work, and how effectiveness and resilience play in post. My heir? My heir is not currently built. So that's awkward.
Yo, you cold?
Do you want me to build her real fast? Heir needs 0 effectiveness. absolutely zero effectiveness. There you go, she's built. Ta-da! Zero effectiveness. Reason being, you need to look at her skills. The strip. When using the skill, removes all buffs on the target and attacks the enemy. This attack bypasses the target's resilience. So when you see bypasses or ignores resilience, the effectiveness stat, you should have zero effectiveness, because regardless of what your effectiveness is, you will always bypass the resilience check. Now, there are some units that require the effectiveness to land strips. So like I said, this right here, this attack bypasses the target's resilience, is what you need to look for. When you see that, you're golden. Other units that have this skill,
Summer is
here. Steals all buffs from an enemy, then attacks the target, ignores the target's resilience. So there again, Poolside Regina does not need effectiveness. Now we look at some other units. Let's go for, I want to find OG Stella. Where's OG Stella? OG Stella.
Can I help with
So let's look at her. Right here. Attacks an enemy and has a 100% chance to steal all buffs. Now 100% chance sounds nice, but that means that it has a 100% chance of activating. But once you activate, then you have to go through the effectiveness and resilience check. So she is susceptible to the effectiveness resilience check. What this percentile chance means is, like, so say this is 70% chance, it's 70% chance of it activating. Then you still have to go through it. So then it's not even 100% chance that it does what it says it does. Kind of like this. Has an 80% chance to reduce the target's priority. So there's a 20% chance that this skill does nothing. So that's the verbiage you have to look for in skills. No problem. Got any other questions while I'm on the help train? Because this is what I like to do, is answer questions for newcomers. And if you haven't joined my Discord, you can, because I like to answer questions when I can, and there's several other veterans that are in the Discord as well that answer questions. Ready for patch notes tonight, man. I'm ready. Finally gonna get this shop cleared out. There you have it. Shop is cleaned. To clean my inventory. So, things that I think that are coming in the next patch are hopefully the new arena season, which they announced that. So that should be coming without a question. Now the real question is, what is the league buff going to be? So every league, there is a unique league buff. The first season was all units get plus 20 or plus 30% health, which was crazy, right? Then the second season, which was even wilder, was all units had like plus 200% accuracy and 200% effectiveness. So essentially you just couldn't miss and all debuffs landed. It was a wild time to be alive. So now, those are the only 2 arena seasons that we've had, or arena leagues. So I'm very curious to see what the arena league buff will be this season. And then I think Guild Wars is going to come back. We're slated for Guild Wars to come back. Hopefully they bring back our boy Kasai, because they skipped him on the last rotation. Feels bad. Stand. And 70. So yeah, everybody must be snoozing. What's going on? Do.
Time to fight!
I know. All right. Everyone, lend me your power.
I've been waiting. Rest in eternal bliss.
Ha! Try and stop me!
Cut it out. Time for
Alright,
change.
poolside.
Sexy. It's summer. Today's main
Correct.
event. At long last, I was helpful.
I haven't even thought about the new character. I have no clue what they're gonna do. If they're actually gonna be good or viable, if they're gonna be a PvE or a PvP unit. Spoilers, I'm going to guess it's gonna be a PvE unit, considering that we just had Gnosis Dahlia. Or they could just completely throw the world, you know, just chaos and make it a unit that makes Gnosis Dahlia even more insane. I don't know how they would do it, but say they make a unit that's synergistic with Gnosis Dahlia. I am speed.
It's go time, Epsilon. Are you ready?
Copy that.
Twin blade combined.
Not one of you will escape.
You cannot escape! Do you need some help? Deploying defense field.
You might want to dodge. I'll be your savior. Are you done yet? Rest in eternal bliss.
I can do it. Firing my shot.
Over here, troops. Come clear the wreckage. This battle bores me already. Albert.
This is the power of an archdemon! Demons be gone! Everyone, lend me your power!
I've been waiting. Good. Confronting an archdemon? Common cold. The paradise we
Clean.
create will be eternal.
I hope hope to learn from you today.
Copy that. Output maximum.
Crystal blast at you!
Miss.
Do you need some help? Deploying defense field.
I'll freeze you prone. Good. This is the power of an archdemon!
My turn. Demons be gone. Everyone, lend me your power.
I'll go. Naive fool! Die!
I'm all set.
Whoops.
With speed, I'll cut you down. Yeah! All right. Woohoo! Boom! I'm glad I was helpful to you out there. Ah! Whew, I was nearly late. I didn't miss anything, right?
This is the power of an archdemon!
All right. Demons be gone.
Are you done yet? Rest in eternal bliss. Good. Naive fool! Comical! Is that all? Don't look away. Another easy fight like I expect. Ouch! Insolence! How dare you point your sword at God? Output maximum! Shatter to pieces!
You cannot escape! Do you need some help? Deploying defense field.
Incoming! You might want to dodge! It's not a big deal. Are you done yet? Rest in eternal bliss.
All right, firing my shot.
Kneel! With this, my nation's future grows brighter.
Alrighty, guys. I think we're gonna hop off. So, thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you guys next time.